Alrighty, hello every folks, and welcome to part 2 of this thing. Now, I noticed, looking over the first part, man oh man, recording off this thing is looking a little jank. So yeah, for future runs we will definitely go right back to the emulator, but we're gonna finish this one up. It's not a very long one, so let's do that. Alright, first order of business, parking lot. Basically, when it comes to Pylon, his whole shtick is that he likes to fly in the air. So if you remove his ability to do that, well, dude ain't doing much. So, there we go, he's on the ground, whoopity-doo-dah. I'm just going to slowly walk towards him. I mean, really might as well. His actual damage potential is not awful, but realistically, this guy can't even hit you most of the time. I mean, honestly, you know, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to remake, so I was talking about doing the arena thing earlier. What I'm kind of tempted to do is to actually go and redo each of the arenas of each game specifically, just to see, in reality, who would actually wind up on top, because I have a feeling that this guy would be nowhere remotely close on top. And the funny part about Formula Front is that you can pretty much recreate anything, so that's always fun. And also, in case anyone was curious, I actually found a very cheap copy of Formula Front on UMD, so we can kind of see how that loads on a chunky PSP. No, I don't know why I keep wanting to test those, but I figure now is probably the best time ever to actually go pick up some UMDs and things, because a bunch of people actually listed them up in preparation for the store closing, and then immediately ended up dropping all the prices because it ended up not closing. Which is kind of especially funny considering that, you know, the PSP store still is closing, so that stuff will still go up in value, but whatever. You know, if you're looking for an investment that probably won't cost you very much, there you go. Alright. Yeah, the downside of this particular map is it's kind of weird to line up your shots for the parry, especially against this guy, since his whole shtick is jumping up and down. But, you know, what can you do, right? What can you do? To punch this guy with a Klondike bar. But yeah, we probably need maybe 1 or 2 more hits. So if his janky self could stop spazzing out, that'd be great. Like, what even is this that he's doing right now? Yeah, right now it's definitely 1 more hit. Because we're seeing about probably 1200 from the slash, and then there we go. The rest will just end up being from the burn. That is the one nice thing about this blade. For the most part, you can get away with some pretty okay stabs. As long as it's in the general core region, you'll probably get a pretty good chance of overheat. Unfortunately, this doesn't really work on the super heavy ones, but what can you do, right? So again, just a little reminder in case you missed it last time, our goal this time is to simply get through the arena up to rank C5, if it lets us, or at least up to Doral. You know, whatever works. Alright, so Backbreaker is a funny one. He's another one that we can actually abuse the parry mechanic on. Or I guess use the parry mechanic, because it's the only time it's ever going to see use. Now, since he's a tank, we're actually still taking a pretty bad exchange here, especially if we can't land any hits. But, in theory, this should still be good. I guess that wasn't awful. But yeah, so if you didn't know, yeah, tanks get a massive damage boost from using blades. Funny thing, though, is, yeah, that one actually bounced off entirely. So tanks can actually be harder to hit when using the parry mechanic. Because, yeah, it just kind of launches them in different directions and whatever else. But the other funny thing, this guy will always instantly turn on his radiation shoulders here. Or his auxiliary radiators. But, yeah, you can kind of tell they're pretty awful. He's activated them 3 times, and it's done absolutely nothing to cool him off. I mean, those things are about as effective as a little squirt bottle. If that. Yeah, we're taking some pretty bad trades here. You can kind of see why I'm using the little shield, though. We'll probably have to redo this one. No huge deal. At least it's not as difficult as the Javelin AI arena was recently. I don't know if the video has gone up as of the time of doing this, but yeah, that thing's an adventure and a half. Like, oh, go figure out how to beat this nigh invincible AC with unlimited energy and nigh unlimited bullets. Also, it just can aim at you from anywhere. Alright. Just go ahead and retry that one. I think we're actually just going to go do it in the parking lot. This guy's getting real annoying here. And that's going to happen with a parry blade build. Actually, it's one touch that it's kind of incredibly annoying about Last Raven. So that one has a arena that you can do fights in, but that arena has a weird thing where it's got a slope going down in the middle of it. So even if you do try to do a parry blade run of that one, you're going to have a real hard time on most of the arenas in that one, because that's a feature they just fell in love with for whatever frickin' reason. So almost every multiplayer arena has that downward slope. And so most of them you have to fight on their own stages. You can't really select one. If you go into the free battle mode, then, I mean, obviously that's not something you're doing for a normal playthrough. Alright, come on, parry blade. Parry! Funnily enough, last time through, I did actually get past this guy with relative ease, but that was using the heavy shield. And I think that's what I'm going to do here. There we go. There's a nice meaty hit. And you might say, go use the heavier one. Nah, I don't think I will. Kind of want to beat the entire game just using this thing, because I used the mid-blade last time. And honestly, this is just more fun. As much as you can, you know, justify this is fun. But yeah. Alright, no plan. Because his side-to-side stuff is getting a little annoying, and honestly what I should be doing is just moving stuff on my desk so I can sit more comfortably. So, before, since I don't have like a grippy controller on the Vita, I was using this shell case kind of dealy. It's like clamshell thing that has a stand that comes up in the back. And it worked pretty well in terms of having a handhold on it. Because one of the main downsides of the device is simply that it's just super weird to hold, especially when connecting cables like it is right now. So, anyway, so that was all well and good until the thing just kind of snapped off. So, yeah, it's kind of a thing. So, I don't exactly have the best grip on this thing at the moment. Not that it's any excuse for this horrible crap going on right now, but, you know, it's just a kind of mentioning of the situation, so to speak. Of course, that being said, under most circumstances, just being able to hit something with this stupid spike at all is oftentimes considered impressive, so whatever, we'll just kind of call it there. For anyone wondering, no, I don't plan to go and parry blade only Javelin's entire AI arena. Actually, tell you what. If by some frickin' logic, we'll make it one of them, like, subscribe gold dealies, right? So if by some logic it gets, like, 10,000 or some crap, then I'll go try to parry blade his entire AI arena. And, probably go at least mildly insane in the process, but hey, the things you do and all that. Now, if current metrics stand to reason, I'll probably be 50 by the time that happens, so, you know, probably pretty safe. I feel pretty safe taking that bet, you know? Alright. Now, here's the thing. How on earth did Fixer ever lose to Crossback? Like, they make it a big point to point out that, you know, he's here trying to teach newbies and whatever else. He wants to make sure that, that only decent people get by. How did Crossback get anywhere, you know? I mean, don't get me wrong. I've beaten this guy with Crossback's AC before. It is doable. It's most certainly not easy. I think it's supposed to be implied he used the parry mechanic and then used the mines on him. Maybe he did something like this. Actually, come to think of it, that's pretty possible. Like, thinking about it, because, okay. So, provided he managed to somehow get a parrying hit on the shield, like he just barely managed to deflect him off, and then he got him with a spray of mines a couple times, that I guess that actually totally would work as a tactic. But see, that's what I've always loved about this game. It's not necessarily the robots or anything else. It's specifically the fact that for everything in here, you can kind of more or less see why it's there. Like, with every fight, it's not like, you know, the other guy had the bigger numbers. It's like, if you use the right tools in the right way, and, you know, everything has multiple potential uses, then something, almost anything, can potentially be accomplished. So, like, in this case, it's just a very crappy frame with a spike on it, but using this parry mechanic, we're able to get pretty decently far. And it's something that FromSoft is absolutely excellent in incorporating in their games. Because this applies to almost all of them. Like, you can absolutely friggin', you know, wooden spoon only Dark Souls 2, or punch only Dark Souls 1, or, like, you know, get through Demon Souls using only a broken weapon or something. Like, I think I've seen somebody do that. Just like, what happens if somebody with a scraping spear shows up, destroys your starting equipment, and you can never afford anything else? And, like, you know, just make it through with entirely broken stuff. Now, I love the Reservoir map. It's my favorite multiplayer map in the entire thing. But I will say, the PSP version does look a little janky. You can kind of see the artifacting going on over there, like a little glitter and whatever else. It doesn't show up as much on the Vita version, but you can tell they had some issues with this one. So, the thing is, they stretched out the boxes. They stretched out the graphics, they stretched out everything, and so there's certain areas that that stretching comes through. And this is most certainly one of the most obvious areas. So I guess part of this will be a, like, downsides of the PSP version review. On a side note, there you go. That is how you two-shot a lightweight build using the parry blade. So yeah, the first one took up almost a few thousand. Yeah, the first one took off almost 4,000, I think it was, and then this one will probably do about the same. Okay, he's going to barely survive that. Okay, so how to three-shot a lightweight. Barely missed that one. And if you're wondering how exactly I'm doing these, it's just, I can assume he's in a rough location, and just like the rocket stuff, I'm just vaguely aiming in that direction. So you just kind of internalize the timing and go for it. Do not aim, just do. I don't know, something like that. Something that sounds more profound than it probably is. Alright, 4 more. Aster's pretty annoying, so we're just going to do parking lot with him, because he's just going to zoom around in circles. He's actually one of the ones that bum rushes you, so he can actually be very easily sniped in the arena. Like, the rocket-only arena was some of the easiest crap, because so many of them start off with that charge, and you can just put them in a permanent stun lock with that. Okay, so lights are turning off any moment now, or not. Guess that was a car. And for those wondering, the reason that I walk during these is just because you get a little bit of better fine movement, so you can you can react a little faster to if they move somewhere. So you're really just better off being on the ground. Oh, beautiful! I love it. I love it. Man, I think it was either overweight only or was it starter only? One of them that just, this guy would blade over and over and over and over and over, and it was Not great. That guy can be very fast. Alright, and as is tradition, you gotta fight Yellowboat over here in the reservoir. It is the lake map. It's just appropriate, you know? Now, functionally speaking, despite having a laser cannon, despite having a moonlight, she is a bazooka build. Everything else might as well just not exist on her. Now, I want to say that Yellowboat is another one of those ones that I love for their overall design. Because you know what she is? She is the newbie character that just figured out how certain things work. Okay, that was a very nice quick draw bazooka, I gotta say. But she figured out that she likes cannons, but she hasn't quite figured out the Neil mechanic. She's figured out that the moonlight's pretty good, but she hasn't figured out how to work it into her build. So she's one of those very few that's actually overweight, and yeah, just kind of rolls with it. She's not cheating or whatever else. She's just overweight. It's so weird. Right, yeah, the bazooka's pretty good at countering this. Because doing this little U-shaped charge thing works pretty darn well for the parry. Unfortunately, yeah. Oof. Well, she almost got me with the moonlight. Come on, then. You want some of this? But yeah, this is why you can kind of go back and forth and repeatedly spike. What is this goofy crap? Oh, this is amazing. Oh, I love this run so much right now. Oh, man. Oh, this is why I love whenever there's situations of somebody saying that that they're trying to figure out how to get good at Armored Core and whatever else. Here's the secret. You don't try to become more skilled at the thing, you try to learn what to abuse. Oh, just Armored Core in general, everything that FromSoft ever made is just a whole big mess of what can you abuse to get what you want. Ah, I love it. Alright. Who the hell am I even fighting? That one. What are you again? Oh, it's Suburban King. Alright, verticals, shotgun, and Howie. The howitzer is going to be the biggest threat here. He's going to charge. We're probably going to deflect a whole bunch of this shotgun. So it's going to do next to nothing. Yeah, he loves to get caught in there, so that's probably going to be our window. Other than that, this guy moves very erratically. I'm just going to hang out near this thing, see if we can catch him inside. So like right here, realistically, I shouldn't have any logical reason to be able to reach this guy, but if I can get him in a corner... All it's going to take is a few scratches from this thing, and he's done. I'm not going to have any anti-missiles on me, I'm not going to have any real resistances to that howitzer or anything. That was a really weird move. So, Suburban King is another one that can actually overheat himself. He will gladly zoom out of the way. Now, his energy shot, he's out. He's trying to go for verticals. There we go. Just need 2 more of those. The energy shield is not going to give me very much resistance to that howitzer, so I'm better off just not using it unless I'm at full. Oh, he's not out of his energy shotty. Okay. Needless to say, this guy's a little bit fast, but thankfully, yeah, he does overheat himself. Absolutely loves his overboost. Should have dodged right instead of left. There's another. All we need is one more to close this out. And there we go. He's done. Oh, by the way, fun little technical note. When stuff is flying at you in this mode, In AC3 in particular, this was actually changed in later versions, but in AC3 you can actually technically take damage when it's attacking you when you're in your out of control state. Funny thing is that oh, by the way, we're gonna do him on Reservoir because his mines don't work on Reservoir. But yeah, funny thing is that yeah, you can actually get blown up and it won't count as a tie or anything. You'll still count as winning, but you can technically get finished off by missiles in that state. So yeah, his here's the thing with Doral. His whole build is comically bad. Like, this is why I say that he's my favorite mid-boss ever, because it's one of those builds that's just so janky you gotta respect it. So he's running an energy shield and anti-missile, so you're thinking, okay, he's a defensive build. Okay, but he's got no armor. His energy supply is trash, like, considering that he has to rely on his EO for a lot of his damage. That little dinky SMG he's got, yeah, that thing's got no ammo and no damage on it. His actual main weapon are the scatter mines he's got on him. He's got rockets, sure. They're alright. I mean, they're small rockets, they'll do the job. It's 40 shots, but his actual main powerhouse weapon is his frickin' scatter mines. This guy tends to run out of energy a lot. This guy tends to, well, you see. There's like nothing going for him here. His EO is his kind of his primary, and then yeah, his powerhouse is his mines. His rockets are a spray and pray in his case. He's not very good with them. And even then, small rockets are more for spam firing than anything. And what's funny is when he comes in for his boss version later, he'll actually come in at lowered health, even on hard mode. As you've seen here, we've already hit him 3 times. He's still surviving this. When we did it earlier, this already killed him. So this means that not only... okay, so I want to set up the context for this because it's kind of hilarious. When Union is first starting out in this one, they're basically running on dregs. They don't have very much. They have some old leftover tanks that they found somewhere. They live in a completely abandoned sector, and you know, they have some people in jetpacks, and they've got one guy in their employment, and that's this guy. So I'm just going to show this from his perspective real quick because it's hilarious. Anyway, so this is the only guy that they've got working for them at this point. You know, this group that's supposed to eventually try to take down this massive supercomputer that runs everything. And yeah, the thing is that you can tell he's the only one they can afford. Everything about him screams, I'm on a budget. Well, funnily enough, except for his frame. His frame is expensive, but everything else is just like bottom of the barrel, just like the cheapest thing in the category that you can get. The shield is so very, very slightly more than the very basic one. It's kind of embarrassing, but I will say though, his build is super fun to play with. It's messed up, but the fact that they hype this guy up so much and he's such a complete disappointment is amazing. So yeah, he's the only one they can hire. They can't even afford to fix him, so he's coming in at partial health. He's supposed to be their big, you know, the big heavy hitter. The guy can't hit at all. Oh, I love it. It's so janky. I love it. But yeah, let's read over his description real quick. So he whittles down his opponent using his AC's wide array of weapons in combination with effective hit-and-run tactics, by which they mean he fires and then he stands in place. Including among his arsenals a mine dispenser for setting traps and a machine gun to keep the pressure on. That thing can keep the pressure on, so to speak, for like 20 seconds. The mines, yeah, they occasionally stick to stuff. Most stuff they will just disappear on contact. They're kind of specific about what they'll stick to. Hilariously though, they will stick to shields. If you hold up a physical shield, they will stick to it. Instead of blowing up. It's kind of funny how that works, and I'm not entirely sure why that happens. Actually, was that shields or was that something else? I'm fairly certain it was shields that they stick to. Anyway. So, what do we get? Crest product sponsor. We got the VREX WS1, so that's fantastic, but, you know, whatever. And the VE905, my personal favorite generator because of its everything. It's like the perfect middle-of-the-road generator, basically. So the WS1... Wait, really? Okay, I mean, it's not much, but it's better. So yeah, V905, very close to the same output. In fact, come to think of it, I mean, for how much weight it's reducing, it's okay. It's 100 less weight. It's a little bit less output, a little bit less cap. Emergency cap is a decent chunk wider. Honestly, we might as well just switch to that too. I wasn't going to, but that'll do the job. So let's go ahead and put the doo-doo bombs on here, so we can deal with the tanks in a way that makes this run technically possible. I know there'll be that one guy. There's always that one guy. So if you're getting into AC for the first time, just something to know. This series, for whatever reason, it's a fantastic series, but it really brings in some strange people sometimes. I don't know if it's the customization factor of it, but for some reason it brings in some massive egos, and it... Don't worry, they weird everyone out. I mean, at its heart, it's a pretty silly series, all things considered, despite the fairly dark premise. Go, deal with them with the doo-doo bombs. I mean, is there any particular reason that we have to finish these guys off? I mean, they're just kind of here. I don't think they're really going to threaten anybody. Like, what are these guys going to do? And for that matter, how am I standing on them right now? There we are. That's what I was looking for. So that's 2 meaty hits. That's not quite going to be enough. We're going to need 2 more at least. There we go. Simple enough. And this one's kind of awkward in that it just sort of ends. But I think we left one somewhere. Yep. Hello, back tank. There you go.
Objective achieved, but I keep wondering.
Yeah, I know. I keep wondering about real estate prices here too. Seems like you should be able to get a pretty good deal. What's going on is a whole lot of cleaning is going to have to be done. I'll tell you that much. Clean all the crossback off the walls. Alright, this brings me to one of those details I love about the series, and that's the fact that every time that you end up beating somebody in the missions, their replacement joins the arena. So there's a whole sub-arena. You get them all unlocked when you beat the game and all that, but there's all kinds of neat characters in here, including the ones that you can partner up with. So it's cool. You see them eventually join the arena. Now, I'm not going to make a big deal of actually fighting all these. I just kind of want to fight Coolhead here. If we lose, we lose. Whatever. He's not really anything to be super proud of or worried about or anything like that. He's basically a fast build with a 1000 MG, a slug gun, and a flamethrower. If he decides to combine the 1000 MG and the flamethrower, then all well and good. A lot of the AIs, interestingly enough, have this burst fire thing built into them. Which kind of makes me wonder if at some point the 1000 MG was supposed to either have more power or something else, because it seems really strange. Like, Clazen has this same thing, which is pretty alright. It might have just been like this guy's AI was copied from him or something. But Clazen has a similar thing where he'll burst fire. And in his case it makes sense, because he's got the 350 MG, he's... actually, wait, is that a 500 MG in this? Anyway, the heavy machine gun. So in his case, he's a guy that is supposed to be very savvy. He's come up from nothing. He's basically supposed to be a guy that came out of the slums and just worked his way up and somehow managed to get an AC. And so he's very conservative about his shots, so he fires in bursts. While some of the crazier ones will fire wildly all over the place. And it's little touches like that I absolutely love about this game. Did I mention I love this game? I freaking love this game. Also, let's get rid of these before somebody says something. So, like, one point of contention for the community and whatever else was when it came to 5th gen and, you know, multiplayer stuff in general. And the funny part is, I loved For Answer. It had so much fun to it and whatever else. And it's not that I couldn't get into 5th gen. There were those times that I got into it. It's just that I didn't enjoy it. Not for the mechanics. The mechanics were awesome. Not for the parts. The parts were awesome. Honestly, I legitimately enjoyed the designs of them too. What bugged me was the visuals. I could not stand to look at the dang thing. And I don't mind if a game looks ugly, if I can tell what the hell's going on. But when everything is so grainy that you can't really see, you know, it just becomes a bit of a thing. Alright, there we go. That's him done. But yeah, I mean, between all of them, Verdict Day is really, really good. Granted, the writing isn't amazing. It makes 0 sense, in my opinion, but what it does do well is the actual mechanics. Alright, we'll do more arena later. No, I kind of want to do Defend Personnel Convoy. Go ahead and save it real quick. By the way, funny note, I believe in the PS2 version you got a game over for failing the Crossback fight. So he can actually survive through the game. But yeah, you don't actually have to fail the mission. Or you don't have to win the mission. Anyway. So I can't really increase my ammo count or anything, but what I would like to do is go heavy shield on this one. And that's mostly because if we do succeed, we're going to end up fighting Mr. Dude Guy in the subway tunnels, and if that's happening, well, we are going to need to have a bit more defense. Because well, you have to be able to tank a whole lot of hits from him. He can shred your AP pretty fast. Alright. Yeah, our Mirage reputation is going to be through the roof with this one. We've almost exclusively taken Mirage missions.
Enemy forces detected. Keep them away from the convoy.
Raven, they damaged the main gate. We can't use it.
Alright, I'll do what I can, but this is pretty unrealistic in terms of its plausibility, just so you know.
Cover us.
To the surprise of no one, we lost some. Two of them on screen, managed to miss them both. And I forgot to get rid of these dang contact bomblets again. No, we're not using those again. Sucks to be you. Shouldn't have been trying to drive a Jeep through, you know, whatever the hell this is. Are these guys in the jetpacks that, well, don't actually fire those gigantic guns they've got on them. They realistically could deal with one or two of them. Did I just get two of them with one stab? I think I might have. So just so you know, all frames when your spike is active do count as damaging frames. That's why you're able to do the glitch in Nexus. So in theory, you would be able to do some stuff like that. I don't think that I actually got two there. Looking back on it mentally. Alright, Okay, got them to hit each other, that's an option. There's another. Who's getting this last one? Okay. So we've done all we realistically can here. Due to the way that the AI works, unless they come in here, they will not be able to fire within this building. Or within this hallway, rather. So we can deflect off whatever missiles come this way. And the heavy shield will do a pretty solid job of that one, if y'all could kindly maybe not. Nice. That's right, you're seeing me, Captain America, this crap. That is 2 kills using only the shield.
The evacuation is complete.
Alright.
Thanks for your help.
Now, with our Mirage rep where it is right now, we should reasonably...
Transmission.
Yeah, there we go. So with this thing active... Okay, so it doesn't always show the animation, but we are getting the defense from it. Meaning with a shield, we're actually able to reduce missile damage down to 60.
Terminal.
Okay, so there we go. Unlike the PS2 version.
It's up to you whether or not to accept.
Okay, so we are going to wait.
Head to the escape point if you want in.
Now, you might be screaming, use overboost, okay?
Request accepted.
I know, but I have a feeling that overboost triggers them to fire more quickly, because I've seen so many cases where you try to overboost in that section, and then they're all like, oh my god, fire right now! And then you just get swarmed at the very end. So I'd rather have the option to dodge. Alright,
Raven, we have to locate the AC. He has the chipset.
what is the chipset? This is never explained. At least not in this section.
Find the AC.
So, funnily enough, you can't encounter this mission normally. You can only hear the briefing in New Game Plus. So, like, when you end up coming back later. So, in this case, we don't get to hear it, but yeah, that's some kind of control chip dealy.
Weaklings.
And see, he says that, but he's got, like, no defense, so, you know.
Finally, a worthy opponent.
See, he says that. Funny story. So his AI is really dumbed down for this fight. But yeah, he'll go down like a total chomp. In this case, I got lucky because he can erratically go side to side like an absolute maniac. But yeah. There we go. That should give us our icicle. No, that'll unlock the edges. Okay, we didn't get the icicle, but whatever. Got some parts to sell at any rate. Because yeah, I think we're okay with the 905. That'll do the job just fine. We shouldn't need the contact bomblets again, so I'm going to get rid of those. And there we go. That's all that we need. Got about 20 more minutes here. Do a little bit more arena. And yeah, flare up, he tends to overheat you real good, so what happened right there, I believe he fired all of his mid-missiles, plus might have dropped a mine on me. I don't really expect to dodge this guy with a shield active. What I am hoping to do is get close. Nice thing about the shield, though, it has pretty good heat insulation. Unfortunately, yeah, that didn't do jack for that much heat coming in. So I think going forward, we're probably going to use this thing. But you can see, that stuff easily would have been like a 1500 overheat under normal circumstances, and it brought it down to about 200. So it doesn't sound like much, but it is pretty significant. And I know we're still getting completely shredded. That's fine. Ooh, you can actually deflect mines. That's good to know. Right. And actually, one thing I've been looking into recently is doing the PS2 versions off of a actual PS2. We'll see, though. Yeah, I'm toast. Let's do that again. But yeah, supposedly that stuff has become a bit more affordable, but we'll see if anything comes up for auction that might do the job on the cheap. Let me do a quick adjustment here. There we go. Actually, fascinating. So with the heat insulation from this thing, actually, no, wait, it's not. I was going to say, it seems to be helping to cool down much faster. I don't seem to be able to punch myself in overheat as easily. That is interesting. Go. Let's do it. Punch. Come to think of it, I should probably... I was going to say, I should probably check where Shadow Age is, but I believe we do have to beat him before we ever get to C5. Yeah, we do have to beat Shadow Age. So we should be able to beat and also kill off Shadow Age. No. By the way, this is another one that I really, really like. So his whole backstory is that he could essentially be much better if he would just learn to not use garbage parts and actually apply himself. And funnily enough, he actually acts very similarly to the kind of end-all ultimate AI of the game. But yeah, he doesn't really have the parts to back it up. It's kind of a cool thing. I mean, he's not exactly the same AI, you can tell that, but I just mean many of the moves that he does are pretty similar. There's one. Yeah, this shield is pretty alright once you make it work. Completely lost track of where the hell he just went. There he is. Plunk, and he's done. Fairly certain he doesn't have the radiator to get out of that one. And it doesn't matter because he got himself parried anyway. Ween! Oh, and by the way, if you were curious, yes, that extreme screen tearing that is happening all the time, yeah, that's going to happen anytime I'm recording off the Vita for something that isn't, you know, a strategy game for the most part. It's just how it is. So, here we go. Go get Fragile before he dies. Wow, living up to that name there. There's a nice health you had there. It is gone now. Almost nailed that one. A pretty tricky dodge there. Known as moving slightly. Yes, the moving slightly maneuver is very difficult to get around. And now he's down to half. And I think this is... This must be one of those things that when they were playtesting this or whatever else, I'm sure somebody looked at this and thought, you know what, somebody will definitely figure out how to make this, you know, consistent and completely broken and whatever else. And I think they really overestimated how willing people were to actually do that kind of stuff when stuff like grenade cannons are available. Because, yeah, the parry blade and the rockets, they were consistently nerfed throughout the entire series, and then, yeah, it was only until, only up in, like, 5th gen and stuff like that you finally got to see them live up to their potential. Actually, like, even in 4th gen, the physical blades were pretty good, but, you know, it wasn't quite the dual axes or anything else that you saw in 5th gen. I have to say the fact that you could have like a double battle axe build was pretty funny, and the fact that they even had a mission where you fight a double axe guy with a football helmet for his logo is pretty great. Like, see, that's the thing. 5 took itself way too seriously, and I think that's part of the reason I don't like it. Not to mention it's a complete fustercluck of a story, because somebody decided to do about 20 straight time jumps over the course of 9 total story missions. Like, it was nuts. I don't really know who thought that was a good idea. When you go back and then you find all the hidden boss fights and stuff like that, that's pretty cool, but I don't know. Really was not a fan of that one. But yeah, then Verdict Day with its friggin' hardcore mode, that was awesome. Alright. Now, Sweet Sweeper is notoriously difficult to hit. I'm not really going to bother with the shield as much with him, because this dude is a very quick boy, and realistically, 1 or 2 hits, yeah, that's already crippled him pretty good. Yeah, you get against that wall. There we go. And that should have him pretty much all the way overheated. One of those glanced, though. Goodbye. I think I'm actually getting pretty good with this thing. Maybe not multiplayer level good, but still doing pretty alright, I think. An empty training exercise, attack Mirage forces, or capsule theft. Capsule theft requires hover legs. I'm not really going to bother with that. Attack Mirage, maybe. It's another one of those ones that you kind of got to rely on the AI a little bit. So I'm going to save it. This one's just kind of fun, so whatever. Do we want a mission with them? Yeah, it's funny how Appleboy takes quite a while to upgrade his AC. He's still in the starter here. His unit is befitting to his status as a newly inducted Raven. He's an honest young man, but there are questions as to whether he can make it as a mercenary. He's yearned to become a Raven ever since he was a boy, although if he was acting like he did in the intro, I suppose that makes sense. Fragile is alright. I usually go Jets for this one. The Jets tend to do a pretty good job of cleanup, but they also tend to get shot down. Now this is one of the most obvious visual glitches in the game right there. You can kind of see the skybox freaking out in the background. If you're on emulator, though, that will turn into a giant black diamond. So it doesn't really show up on original hardware, interestingly enough. But, yeah. I do expect it to lag a little bit, though. Yeah, we'll probably have to. There's another. I thought I was about to get one of the motorcycles there. So any of the big guys that I scratch, I'm just going to leave as they are, as far as I'm aware. I mean, Fragile's going to be running around causing chaos, so perfectly fine in that regard. I kind of wish that you could decide to take Spartan along for this one. I don't know. The dude's just satisfying to have around as a escort there, and as another, it's, I don't know, there's just something hilarious about letting you use the MTs that you're fighting. There we go. Bunk. That wasn't boosting. I needed to be forward boosting on that one. You can kind of accept, by the way, that as soon as you decide to retreat and go replenish your stuff, that your companion's dead. In that case, I would have hit the guy, but I got hit by a bazooka from the side. I have to say, the fact that they can knock you around is really annoying. Yeah, Fragile is almost dead. Fragile is dead. This could be a problem. Alright, let's go to Friend and see if he actually restores ammo for this thing. Oh, I guess he does. Gone ahead and used a repair powder on my parry blade. Now the question is, can we parry these bikes? They look like it should be possible, but I'm not going to be able to pull that off with this big boy in the background. Alright, could you please hit him? Stop jumping, you dick. Like, I appreciate that you're doing your best here, but I'm getting real annoyed by all these bazooka shots. I got him. Yeah, that was gonna happen. Alright, that's fine. Whatever. That was fair enough. That one's not obligatory. It's kind of just gonna come down to RNG, so I really don't care. Basically, what it comes down to is if you kill enough stuff and Fragile decides not to get himself mega murdered, then you're fine. But that's usually why I go Jets on that one. They tend to do a pretty good job. Defend Ruglin. Yeah, let's do Defend Ruglin. So if this one's a loss, we'll go back and redo that one. That's why I didn't save. Actually, if that's the case, I'm going to have to come back to it because I just noticed I've only got a few minutes left. Alright, so at this point, you must stab the balls. Now, I believe the blade actually reaches their inner core, so I don't think you actually have to wait for them to open up.
This area is clear. Let's head in and give
Because if you have a way to reach their inside, it's always there. Actually, that's another one of those little details that I love about FromSoft games. It's like, technically speaking, their pain hitbox is always active. It's not just like on and off. Right. That's not a great start. And don't worry, Fragile, you totally sound convincing. What they mean is, if Fragile dies, and your MT dies, then you'll be able to do stuff. Well, I guess they all died. They sure are. That being said, I would like to beat this guy, though. Come on down. He is underneath me right now. Sir, if you could just land. You know what? That's perfectly fine. That means I get to go back and parry this guy. Okay. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one.